PNM family. It's falling. PNM family. Are we here this evening? Claxton Bay, are we here? So let me do a quick roll call. San Fernando East, are we here? Come on, y'all. San Fernando East, make some noise. San Fernando West, make some noise. Anybody here from Naparima? I love it, yes. Anybody here from Tabaqueets? Orobuch West, East, let's just make some noise to these areas. And Claxton Bay. Good evening, PNM family. Are we ready to stand in defense of the people? Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite everyone to stand proudly for the national anthem of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. Please remain standing as we invite Reverend Mark Samuel to lead us in our opening prayer.
We quiet our hearts and our minds as we prepare to thank God for all that He has granted unto us thus far. Gracious and loving God, we come together today with grateful hearts for the privilege of gathering in this part of the community. We ask, O God, for your guiding presence to be among us. As our leaders continue to discuss the future for us as a people, we pray that this ground will be hallowed, and we ask that you inspire every speaker as they come. May their words be tools of building up rather than tearing down. And may they continue to serve as faithful stewards for genuine unity, for genuine peace and love. We pray that our love and respect will continue to anchor our decisions even when we are differing in opinions. Grant us courage to speak the truth. Grant us grace to listen with an open heart. And at the end, may it be for the betterment, not only for ourselves, but for the Republic of our beloved island, Trinidad and Tobago. And so we pray that you go before us, O Lord, in all our doing, and further us with thy most gracious favor, that with all thy works begun, continued, and ended in you, we may, by your grace, attain that everlasting salvation which you have prepared for us. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Samuel. Please be seated. His Worship, the Mayor of San Fernando, Councillor Robert Paris. His Worship, the Mayor of San Fernando, Councillor Robert Paris. Political leader of the People's National Movement, leader of the opposition, and member of Parliament for Arima, the Honorable Penelope Beckles-Robinson. Chairman of the People's National Movement and a member of Parliament for Aruca Lopino, the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez. Vice Chairman of the People's National Movement, Senator Dr. Amory Brown. Assistant General Secretary of the People's National Movement and Deputy Mayor of San Fernando, Chairman of the San Fernando East Constituency, Alderman Patricia Alexis. Deputy Political Leader for Policy of the People's National Movement, Mr. Sanjeev Budu. Deputy Political Leader for Party and Election Matters, Mrs. Jennifer Batiste Primus. Chairman of the Claxton Bay Constituency, Dr. Webster Joseph. Coordinator for the Claxton Bay Constituency, Mr. Mukesh Ramsingh. Councillor Teresa Lynch, Councillor for Kokie Taruba. Senator Dr. Margaret Satya Rose. Youth Speaker, Ms. Kitena Soni. Members of the PNM Central Executive, including Elections Officer Indar Parasram, Operations Officer Ms. Irene Hines, Youth League Chairman Mr. Patrick Phillips, Members of Parliament for the People's National Movement, the Member of Parliament for San Fernando East, the Honorable Brian Manning, former political leaders, ministers of government, members of parliament and senators, mayors, chairmen and councillors of our municipal corporation, and permit me to recognize His Worship Alderman Clyde James, the Mayor of Point Fortin, as well as former Mayor of San Fernando, Ian Athley, constituency chairmen, coordinators, executive members, and party group officers, representatives of the Women's League, Youth League, and our affiliate arms, members of the media, specially invited guests, supporters of the People's National Movement, both here and those viewing at home, and to the wonderful people of Claxton Bay, good evening. I know the list is a lot to go through, so I know everyone else will stand on the protocols previously observed. But good evening. It is a pleasure to have everyone here. Good evening to the people of Claxton Bay. Good evening and welcome to the People's National Movement public meeting at the Marabella Community Center in the beautiful constituency of Claxton Bay. My name is Anisha Beach. I am the PRO for the San Fernando East constituency, and it is my distinct honor to be here. This evening, we gather here with one clear purpose: to stand in defense of our democracy, our freedom, and the future of Trinidad and Tobago. Because Claxton Bay, let us be honest, things cannot continue like this. Month after month, extension after extension, the UNC government continues to hide behind a state of emergency, while the people of Trinidad and Tobago continue to live in fear and frustration, not so? This evening, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to say clearly, democracy matters, freedom matters, accountability matters, and the people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve better than mismanagement, confusion, and excuses. This meeting is about reminding Trinidad and Tobago that strong leadership does not panic. Strong leadership plans. Strong leadership protects. And that is what the People's National Movement stands for. The PNM stands for responsible leadership. We stand for law and order with accountability. We stand for democracy and national service. And the PNM stands with the people. So this evening, from south to across Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM will send a clear message. This evening, we stand in defense of our democracy. This evening, Claxton Bay, we stand in defense of the people. Y'all could give a round of applause to the PNM as well, ladies and gentlemen. Our first speaker this evening is a proud son of Claxton Bay whose dedication to the service, education, and the People's National Movement has earned him the respect of the constituency and beyond. An educator for more than 15 years, he holds a Bachelor's of Education, a Master's of Education, and a Doctor of Philosophy in Education from the University of Trinidad and Tobago and the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine. Beyond the classroom, he has devoted almost 2 decades to the People's National Movement, serving faithfully in numerous leadership roles. Today, as acting chairman of the Claxton Bay constituency, he continues to provide steady leadership, sound guidance, and unwavering commitment to both the party and the people he proudly serves. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and give a warm PNM welcome to our first speaker this evening, Dr. Webster Joseph.
No sit in the secret handful, but then the light in the love, the Lord in that blood shall meditate day and night. This shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of waters that bring forth fruit in the season, and whatsoever shall they do shall prosper for ever and ever. The wicked are not so like a chaff which the wind drive it away. Therefore the wicked shall not stand in the congregation of the righteous, not a judgment. Anybody hear me say lava?
The honorable political leader of the People's National Movement, opposition leader, and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Penelope Beckles Robinson. Deputy political leaders, Chairman of the People's National Movement, Mr. Marvin Gonzalez, Senator Dr. Margaret Rose, Councillor for Kokia Taruba, Mr. Rissa Lynch, other members of the movement, the Mayor for the City of San Fernando, His Worship, Robert Paris, members of Parliament, local government representatives, fellow members, supporters, friends, and well-wishers of the People's National Movement. Good evening. On behalf of the Claxton Bay constituency, I warmly welcome you to this public meeting. We are grateful for your presence and your continued commitment to the values, vision, and future of our nation and this great party. This evening provides an opportunity for us to come together in defense of our democracy as we discuss the issues affecting our communities and hear from our representatives about the work being done and the road ahead. As chairman of Claxton Bay, I am happy to report that this constituency has been working tirelessly to keep the PNM's flag flying highly and proudly. More than ever, ladies and gentlemen, the people need the PNM. Therefore, this constituency has been keeping the PNM's flag flying, visible, robust, and active through various activities such as our Jingle Jingle, Children's Christmas Treat, Christmas Dinner, Bingo, Kite Flying, and Windball Cricket Competition. We have a strategic plan to strengthen our constituency with the aim to regain power at the next general and local government elections. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge 3 outstanding gentlemen who are the prospective candidates for the next local government elections for the People's National Movement. Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Mr. Jeremy Robinson for Marabella East. Mr. Jeremy. Mr. Mark Lutchman for Savanetta, Point Lisas. And last but not least, Mr. Carlon Hutchinson for Claxton Bay. Point up here. We have 3 winning candidates, and Claxton Bay constituency is red and ready for victory. From July 1st, we begin our party groups AGMs throughout the length and breadth of the constituency. And we are asking for your support to partner with us as we work together to build this constituency and support these 3 gentlemen. Put your hands together for them. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Our Women's League and our Youth League AGMs are also carded for early August. So I urge all of you to get involved. We have a lot of work to do, and we need each and every one of you to get on board and get the job done. Before I close, permit me to recognize my predecessor, Mr. Andrew Alves. Where's Mr. Alves? Former chairman of the Claxton Bay constituency, for his decades of service as chairman, and who has left an indelible mark on the constituency and continues to be a powerhouse in the constituency. Thank you for your hard work and dedication throughout the years. I also thank Mr. Alves and his team as convener for this event for making this meeting possible. Members and supporters, thank you for joining us. Your participation strengthens our democracy and our movement. We trust that this evening will be informative, engaging, and inspiring. Welcome, and may we have a successful meeting. God bless you, and God bless the PNM.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joseph. And it is clear that the People's National Movement is alive and well in the Claxton Bay constituency, not so? Beautiful. Our next speaker is part of the future of Trinidad and Tobago. And that future must be built on opportunity, education, and hope, not uncertainty, ladies and gentlemen. Our next speaker represents a generation determined to make a difference. Please welcome the Secretary of the Claxton Bay constituency and this evening's youth speaker, Ms. Kitena Sonny.
If I should die before my away,
political leader of the People's National Movement and leader of the opposition of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Ms. Penelope Beckles Robinson. Deputy political leaders, members of parliament, party executive members, constituency executive, my PNM family, good evening. It gives me great pleasure to stand before you this evening, not just as a PNM youth, but as a representative of the largest and most significant stakeholder group in our nation's building process, our young people. We are living in a historic era in our Twin Island Republic, watching a parliament where new blueprint of leadership is being tested. And we acknowledge the weight of the mantle that our political leader, and by extension, our parliamentary team has to carry. But our leader has already broken barriers as the first female political leader in our party's history. Political leader, because of this milestone, the youths are now looking to you with a unique expectation of constructive, transparent, and transformative governance. The role of the opposition is often misunderstood as mere obstructionist, but true democracy demands robust accountability in Parliament. And take note that the young people are watching the proceedings of our Parliament with intense scrutiny. When we see parliamentary walkouts, gridlock, and unnecessary adversarial grandstanding, it doesn't inspire hope. In fact, it distances us from the political process. Another area of concern is crime. Young people like myself cannot begin to imagine our future without confronting the barrier that is stopping our generation from being great. That is, the ongoing crisis of crime and violence in our schools, our streets, and our communities. We feel increasingly unsafe as the days goes by, and the removal of all former youth programs by this wicked Kamala Prasad-Bissessa government is just making things worse. In the political space, youths generally feel like they are not being heard, seen, or respected, and that the resources of the state are not reaching them. In addition, they are not being pointed in the right direction, so many of them go down the wrong path. Tonight, I declare that it is the PNM that has to rescue the situation. Our party must listen to the youths, understand their needs, and lay out actionable alternatives like community mentorship programs. We must do better for our young people, the next generation of adults. Finally, we are operating in an evolving economic space. Our young people are tech-savvy, innovative, and ready to work. Yet, many of our brightest minds feel forced to look abroad for work due to local economic stagnation. Honorable political leader, you have stated that your focus is on preparation, renewal, and restoring public confidence in our country. Tonight, the voice of the young people is saying, we are ready for the challenge to build a better Trinidad and Tobago. Our great party has done the hard work before, and with a collaborative and caring leadership that puts young people at the heart of the process, we will do it again. Madam Political Leader, ladies and gentlemen, the young people, we are ready to rumble. And tonight, we join all PNM stalwarts and all other members of the Red Army as we acclaim in one accord, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail. Thank you.
Excellent work. Put your hands together one more time for Katina Sonny. The passion and conviction of our young people, it is alive and well, not so? Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, PNM family, has worked tirelessly on the ground, engaging residents, building relationships, and helping to strengthen the Claxton Bay constituency. You all know him and love him. Please welcome your former candidate and the coordinator for Claxton Bay, Mr. Mukesh Ram Singh.
I am proud and glad, but I can't understand why some people just talk it bad. But
Thank you very much,
all of them
Chairperson.
running them out.
We took a little walk this afternoon with our political leader. And you know how I'm feeling right now? I want election in the morning. I want PNM to call our election, force the UNC to call our election so we can have elections in the morning. If all they agree with me and all they're ready to get the UNC out of Trinidad and Tobago, say yes! We're going to start it right here in Claxton Bay. We have some candidates here coming up in the local government election. We're going to run the UNC out of Trinidad and Tobago. That is the type of feeling you get when you walk with your political leader. You're just ready for that fight. Political leader of the People's National Movement and leader of the opposition of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Ms. Penelope Beckles Robinson. Deputy political leaders, members of parliament, party executive members, constituent executives, my PNM family, good evening once again. And allow me to stand on all the other protocols that I observed. Ladies and gentlemen, I was the former candidate for Claxton Bay. And I just want to tell you something about a little experience that I had during that campaign time till now. While walking the streets of the constituency, there was a lot of negative grumbling within the party, within ourselves. Some people don't like what Dr. Rowley doing. Some people don't like what Stuart Young doing. They call in Dr. Imbert name. They call in different names for different things. But one thing I realized when I stepped up and offered myself is that no matter what the grumbling is, when it's time for us to come together, united as a family, we have to come united together as one. Because that is all the opposition want to see, us fight amongst ourselves and become weaker. When you live in glass house, you don't throw stone, right? And I also remembered a taxi driver walking on the Marabella main road stopped to ask me if we ain't suffer enough. So I want to say to this taxi driver that after 30,000 people lost their job in a matter of weeks, and a majority of that has to be your customers that are traveling on a day-to-day basis, who suffering now? You're thinking and you're hearing about lies spreading about the People's National Movement, and you always figure the grass is greener on the other side. But it is not. Many of you may not know my background. It comes from a business background, and I was the former president of the Couva Point Leasers Chamber of Commerce. I had the privilege of serving a matter of time when the PNM was in power. And there was a lot of times people would say that the country don't have money, the country not moving, the country not developing. Now, before I go forward, I just want to go back to 2010. 2010, when the UNC was in power, the country lost billions and billions of foreign currency to a very, very, very select few people that took the money either out of corruption or corrupted practices in terms of contracts and take the US money and gone. The next 10 years, the PNM has been trying the very best to fix what had happened within that 5-year period. So it is easy for them to create the problem, and then when they get out of power, now blame us for it, and we are still reeling from it. But going back to what happened while I was the president of Chamber, after all that, after the careful, watchful eye of the minister then of Trade and Industry, Ms. Paula Gopiskun, and now our political leader, who was in charge of the Ministry of Planning and Development, worked and collaborated together. When you pass Karen and you're coming down the road, all those buildings that put up there by Price Plaza was done under the PNM time. And a building going up like Lego in Trinidad, in San Fernando, buildings going up. I have personal friends that have made housing developments make it look so simple under what the PNM was doing, their policies and their practices. So don't let anybody fool you again. I know we all made some little mistakes by saying we don't like this one, and we don't like that one, and we don't like this one doing. But we have made that mistake, and I am sure we're not going to make it ever in life again. Because I know the next time that election bell rings, you, my PNM family, hopefully I will be offering myself to come back again in Claxton Bay. We will band together and we will make sure that the UNC never win another election in Trinidad and Tobago again in life. So if we had to burn for a few years to make sure that never happened, we will take that pill and we will swallow it, but we will come back. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to thank you all very much for the past support in the last general election. I am looking forward to local government working with the candidates here and also in Couva, and also together with my friend Teresa Lynch. She was a very big part of my campaign, and I'm looking forward to returning that favor and being part of hers. And I am also, if you all know, I always try to work together with all the candidates across the nation, Trinidad and Tobago, because we have to come together. So just remember, spread the word. We no longer have any fighting in PNM. Our fight is only outside, and that is who we're going to deal with. So come next local government election and next general election, join with me as we say, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we will prevail. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Put your hands together one more time for Mukesh Ram Singh. Claxton Bay, you must be proud of your speakers this evening. Aren't you proud? Excellent work. They did an excellent work of welcoming us. So now, are you ready for our next speaker? Come on, Claxton Bay. Are you ready for our next speaker? Excellent. Our next speaker this evening understands that the strongest leaders are not made in Parliament. They are forged in the communities they serve. For 3 consecutive terms, the people of Kokie-Taruba have entrusted her with the responsibility of representing them, returning her to office because they know she is present, accessible, and committed to fighting for their interests. An experienced social worker with a passion for community development, she has dedicated nearly a decade to empowering individuals and improving the lives of vulnerable communities. She holds qualifications in sociology, psychology, and the management of HIV infection from the University of the West Indies. And she is currently pursuing a degree in law through the University of London. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Councillor for Kokie-Taruba, Councillor Teresa Lynch.
Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight.
Thank you very much, Miss Beach. You know when you tell somebody don't do something, they do the exact same thing you tell them don't do? That's Miss Beach, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome you to the constituency of Claxton Bay and also to the electoral district of Kokie-Taruba. Permit me tonight to recognize the political leader and opposition leader of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Penelope Beckles-Robinson. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to recognize our officers of the party, His Worship, the Mayor of the City of San Fernando, Councillor Robert Paris. Yes, yes, yes. The Member of Parliament for San Fernando East, the Honorable Brian Manning. Ladies and gentlemen, all of the supporters of both San Fernando East, San Fernando West, and I'd still say point up here, but Claxton Bay constituency, good evening. Firstly, let me take this opportunity to thank you all for coming out here tonight. Because what is happening in this country right now demands that we speak plainly, boldly, and without apology. I stand here in defense of our democracy and freedom. We came here in defense of our democracy and freedom. And we will move forward in defense of our democracy and freedom for a better Trinidad and Tobago. San Fernando, Marabella, the entire city is dirty. But let me add this tonight. Dirt is not just something we see on the streets. Dirt is something we see when our systems is neglected. Dirt is something we see when our communities are ignored. And dirt is what we see when our people are forced to accept less than they deserve. But dirt is not our destiny. The people are tired. The people are exhausted. Families are stretching the dollar. Workers are under pressure, facing discrimination. Grocery prices are high. Ordinary citizens catching the nenen. And while all this happening, what do we hear from our government? A bunch of nothingness. Nothing. But on the ground, in our city, our communities, in our districts, and specifically in this district, the reality real different. But let's go back. So as Ms. Beach indicated, I have been here serving for 10 years. I've now made a decade. I'm an elder. I have experience. What else would I say here? Yeah, you understand? So with that being said, I remember the days when the city of San Fernando used to have 120 plus development projects throughout the city. 120 plus development projects. Councillors were receiving 8, sometimes 10, 12 projects throughout their district. You all know how much we got last year? Some councillors got 1. Some councillors got. And they want to talk about performance. Performance. Imagine you can't even get 2 projects under this wicked UNC government. The communities are crying. Basic amenities cannot be delivered. And persons are feeling hopeless. But there is hope. At one time, the city benefited from over 1,500 workers working and maintaining the various districts, verges, roadways, trains, etc. Today, that number has fallen to 65. All you hear what I just told you? We had 1,500 workers under the CPEP URP forestry program, 1,500 plus. And that has diminished to 65. Almost 96% decrease in our labor force. You hear what I'm telling all you? And these people boasting about performance. But don't worry, dirt is not our destiny. I remember as a councillor for Kokia Turuba, Mr. Webster Joseph can attest, my chairman, where we had an exercise, 5 CPEP teams, 5 days, 150 workers, clean up the entire of the Turuba community. One community took 150 workers. And this government have the audacity to look at us and say, we deserve 65? Nah, man. But that's not leadership. That's just plain neglect. But again, dirt is not our destiny. Let me be clear in saying this. The same way we have to remove dirt from our streets and our mindset, we have to remove some of the dirt that the government, the UNC government, has for us. So as we clean our homes, we must remember that we must refuse to live in filth. Look at our bypass, St. Joseph Village, Batu Avenue, Harmony Hall, Alliance, Marabella. The entire bypass is just grass. It's there for everyone to see. But you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough of the UNC neglect. Enough of the UNC excuses. Enough of the UNC pretending everything is working when the people are suffering. Enough of UNC staff in our districts. Enough of UNC staff in our city. Enough of UNC staff in our country of the service, the dignity, and the development it deserves. And plain talk, bad manners, we have had enough of the UNC. We have had enough of the UNC. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Claxton Bay constituency, our leader, the Honorable Penelope Beckles Robinson, is willing to work with us, and she's willing to work for us. Let this meeting be the start of a new era of clean politics in the city of San Fernando. We have a leader that will not neglect the youth. So when the election bell is called, we will be depending on you, each and every one of you. Each and every one of you for your support for our leader and next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. That is the only way she can fulfill her mandate. Because we are being led by a leader who's willing to clean up our city. We are being led by a leader who's willing to clean up our constituencies. We are being led by a leader that is willing to clean up our country. We are being led by a leader that is willing to clean up the parliament. Because dirt is not our destiny. Neglect is not our destiny. Decline is not our destiny. Our community deserves better. Our city deserves better. Our people deserves better. And ladies and gentlemen, better will come. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as we leave the beautiful district of Coquille-Tarouba, we must remember that we stand for our democracy and we stand for our freedom. So when the election bell is called in the city of San Fernando, each and every one of you, what are we going to do? Vote them out! And as Mukesh say, 2025 will be the last year that the UNC government set foot in Parliament. This will be the last time that the UNC government ever gets to lead the beautiful Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your duty to support your party, support your country, and stand for what is good and what is right for the people of San Fernando, for the people of the electoral district of Coquille-Tarouba, and for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, great is the PNM. Thank you.
I know you don't know what life is really worth. Is that all that Peter is
Such a passionate representative. Please put your hands together one more time for Councillor for Coquille-Tarouba, Mr. Russell Lynch. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are leaving the Claxton Bay area and we are bringing to you another speaker. Our next speaker is a man who has dedicated his professional life to the pursuit of justice and his public life to the service of country. An accomplished attorney at law whose legal practice is based actually here in the city of San Fernando. He has earned the respect of clients and colleagues alike due to his professionalism and steadfast commitment to the rule of law. A former People's National Movement candidate for Kamuto Manzanilla and now the youngest deputy political leader in the history of the People's National Movement, he has quickly established himself as one of the party's most formidable voices, holding the sitting government to account on issues of constitutional governance, transparency, and national leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, PNM family, please give a warm South welcome to the Deputy Political Leader for Policy of the People's National Movement, Mr. Sanjeev Puru.
Just a little harder. If we just give one more try, life will be much sweeter.
Claxton Bay! I not skilled like these other speakers. I have this mic in my hand like this, so forgive me a moment here while I set up. All right, you hearing me good? Claxton Bay, Claxton Bay, Claxton Bay. 70 years PNM. 70 years PNM. How does it feel to be 70 years old? 70 years and the PNM continues to stand strong. And you know why the PNM stands strong, my friends? Do you know why the PNM is still standing, my friends? Because, yea, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for I know that my Lord is with me. That is why the PNM is still standing strong, my friends. And Foster not talking tonight, so I can get away with that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I recognize, of course, the political leader, the Honorable Mrs. Penelope Beckles Robinson, the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, I recognize Party Chairman, Vice Chairman, Lady Vice Chairman, and all the members of the executive officers of the movement, the members of Parliament present, His Worship the Mayor, Chairman of the constituency of Claxton Bay and other chairmen, party group members, members of the community of the constituency of Claxton Bay, members of the People's National Movement, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, good evening. Now, the PNM is pleased and well happy to be here in Marabella this evening in the great constituency of Claxton Bay. And Claxton Bay is the constituency group of Claxton Bay is one of the active and vibrant constituency groups. And one that I am proud to say is filled with young, energetic people. The future of the PNM and the future of Trinidad and Tobago. But this constituency's real story is its people. And right now, we know for its people, things are not great. We know how many mothers, single fathers have lost jobs in CPEP, in URP, in the reforestation program in particular. And we understand the impact of these things. And we understand the wider impact of the loss of these programs. For example, the Marabella Recreation Ground with overgrown bush that's taller than me. And that same recreation ground that has a playing surface that has deteriorated past any use of utility, any point of utility. It is in fact dangerous for people to use. And persons are afraid of being injured on that grounds. And across this constituency, there are drains overgrown with bushes, causing flooding. Persons who are retired who want to sit down in a gallery in the evening, your car sit down after dark because there's mosquito. All of this is as a result of the closure of CPEP. This constituency suffers from several effects, negative effects of the closure of CPEP. But here in Claxton Bay, we also have things to celebrate. And this evening, we can all celebrate a young man from right here in Plaisance Park. And that is none other than Mr. Malik Lewis, a son of the Claxton Bay constituency. In fact, every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago can be proud to celebrate that Malik Lewis, right here from Plaisance Park, was selected in the 2026 NBA draft by the Washington Wizards. Yep. Before being traded, now finally, to the Milwaukee Bucks. So we celebrate Malik Lewis from this small community of Plaisance Park, who has made it onto the biggest basketball stage in the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, we celebrate and wish Mr. Lewis every success and blessing as he begins this chapter in the NBA and as he joins a rich heritage of Trinbagonian athletes that continue to fly the red, white, and black proudly internationally. But in the midst of the despair that this wicked UNC government has brought down upon the people of Trinidad and Tobago, Malik is a reminder that you can put us down, but you cannot keep us down. And that is the same for the PNM. And in the vein of things to celebrate and be proud of in Trinidad and Tobago, we recognize our Muslim brothers and sisters who celebrate Jose across the country. And among all of the families that celebrate, I wish to specially recognize our own councillor from the Port of Spain City Corporation, Councillor Jamil Bispath, whose family plays a pivotal role in the St. James Jose. Now, this occasion is an exceptionally wonderful opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, for you to take your families to and experience part of our culture as Trinbagonians. So tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m., you can make your way to St. James to participate in and witness this really spectacular occasion of culture, Trinbagonian culture. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get down to some serious business now. Down to the business of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, as I said, the PNM celebrates 70 years of existence. And the PNM was founded on a platform of education. Dr. Eric Williams started this great movement by educating people all across this country. Anywhere that people would come out and listen, there was Dr. Williams. And to attend a PNM meeting means that you must leave here having gained some knowledge, some education. It is Dr. Eric Williams that dubbed Woodford Square the University of Woodford Square. And that is because Dr. Williams made this square into an educational hub that politically awakened the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And that awakening has never left us in the PNM. But in keeping with those high traditions of educating the people and educating our membership, I'd like to speak with you on a few topics this evening. And the first topic is the separation of powers and the role of the police in our democracy, ladies and gentlemen. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is charged, that's why I don't like no stands, you know. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is charged with the responsibility of law enforcement, the preservation of peace, and the detection of crime. That's their job. The TTPS is not constitutionally designed to be the enforcement arm of the political party that occupies government. It is constitutionally designed to protect and serve all of us, regardless of which political party is in office. The Commissioner of Police, under Section 123A of the Constitution, has the complete power to manage the police service. The TTPS is constitutionally mandated to be under the operational directive of one person, the Commissioner of Police, no one else. It is the Commissioner of Police that must decide whether to investigate, who to investigate, whether to arrest, how to allocate investigative manpower and resources, how and when to deploy police officers and where. All of those things are under the sole remit and control of the Commissioner of Police, not any political party that temporarily occupies the majority of the seats in the parliament. And each police officer in Trinidad and Tobago, or in fact rather, each member of the protective service, they have each taken an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. None of them, not one of them, have taken an oath to uphold any direction that comes from any political party that forms government or any member of that government, including any Minister of Defense, any Minister of Homeland Security, any Minister of National Security, or any Attorney General. So quite simply put, ladies and gentlemen, the TTPS is legislatively designed to be independent of any political directorate. Now, why is this so? This is so because world history teaches us that where governments gain control over operational policing, any opponent of the sitting government for political execution. That is why it is so important that this distinction exists, ladies and gentlemen. So we have a situation here where the drafters of our Constitution, the people that have developed our democracy, legislatively so, they have understood this need for an independent police service. And so they have provided for it in law. It's plain and simple. And the TTPS is at its best performance when it has the trust and confidence of the people. The TTPS can best detect crime, aid in successful prosecutions, reduce crime rates, and create a safer environment most successfully when it has the trust and confidence of you and me, we the people. Because we know that law-abiding citizens as we are often have useful information that we can share with the police. But in order to share that information and in order to enable them to better protect us and even prevent crime, trust is necessary, confidence is necessary. So it is essential that the police have the trust of the people. Now, would you agree with me that a responsible government would recognize this? Would you agree that a responsible government would understand the need for the people to trust the police? A responsible government will do everything that it can to ensure that the people and the police trust one another, right or wrong? Do you think we have a responsible government at this time? Well, let's see what they have done. Now, we have heard in Parliament the Honorable Attorney General declare war on certain segments of the population. We have heard him say in Parliament, there are, quote, there are also gangs who describe themselves in terms of percentages. We all heard the Honorable Attorney General talk about the cells that await Tetron for those who challenge him or challenge his Prime Minister. You all heard that? We also heard the Attorney General say that members of a certain percentage, that certain percentage that he and the UNC seem to have they love to hate. They were, what a fascination. Interesting choice of word. That certain, he has said that certain members of that percentage has had their US visas revoked. You all heard him say that? All right. Now, when the government was questioned on the issue of US visas, the Honorable Prime Minister is on record, and of course that is one of the few times that she is on record answering any question at all. But she is on record saying that the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago has absolutely no involvement in the decisions or actions on US visa or immigration policies. Now, ironically, the Prime Minister in that same article from which I quote, which is an Express article dated the 21st of November 2025, said, and I quote again, I categorically state that there has never been and will never be any attempt by my government to intimidate, punish, or suppress the voices of civil society. That is November 2025, the words of the Prime Minister. Right now, you can't stop to tie a shoelace in front of the Red House too long. Don't even think about saying great as the PNM in town. But she is saying, quoted here, in November, that she will never suppress voices of civil society. Could you imagine that in November 2025, me and you could not pause to think about the PNM 500 feet from the Red House? Imagine today, we cannot protest in the home, in the cradle of resistance itself, Woodford Square. Would you have thought in November 2025, that is where we would have been today? Never. Anyway, so the Honorable Attorney General, and I want you to understand something about the Attorney General, the Office of the Attorney General. The office of the Attorney General is second in command to the cabinet. I want to make that clear to you. It is not the deputy prime minister. In fact, our constitution does not provide for a deputy prime minister. And the deputy prime minister has been self-appointed and referred to. That's Mr. Barry Padaras, right? And that deputy prime minister, mysteriously, every time the prime minister unavailable out of the country, he ain't acting, you know. Miss Jolene John acting as the prime minister. He's deputy, not deputizing. But the point is that neither him nor Miss John is second in command to the cabinet. It is the Attorney General. So I want you to understand when he speaks, the weight that his words carry. Now we have the Attorney General just on 10th of June 2026, 15 days ago, talking about these percentages and attributing certain members of the population to gang activities and making reference to their visas being revoked and tying all of that in during a debate on the extension of the SOE. All right? Bam, yesterday now, unexpected. Certain business people have been arrested, and this is shortly after the same person who's been arrested, now in custody, criticized the government's taxation policy. Did you read that in the papers? So he is criticized the government's taxation policy, and next thing you know is jail, lock up. And up to this time, I am on this platform, I am not aware, I'm subject to correction, but I am not aware that any charges were laid. But as far as I am aware, he's still in police custody. And if you're paying attention, you will also know that there's something strange about the Attorney General's utterances on US visas in relation to certain percentages. Because what he has said is that members of that certain percentage, those are the people that have had their US visas revoked. But if you're paying attention and you have friends and you talk to people in this country, you will know that that is not so. There are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago that belong to 100% of Trinidad and Tobago that have had their visas revoked. They are of every race, class, color, and creed. All you have to do is ask. So why is it that he chose to single out this group that he has identified to talk about US visas as if to make a case for the population to believe that there is something amiss? He alone can answer that question. But ladies and gentlemen, isn't that the same type of messaging that surrounded the arrest and detention of a certain reported UNC financier in Sangre Grande, whose life was ended by an assassin's bullet not too long ago? 1 minute, he was reported to have been financing the UNC in East Trinidad. Next minute, you heard that he had some sort of disagreement with some minister of that cabinet. Next minute, he's in jail on a detention order. Next minute, he's released. And the next minute, he is dead. All right. Now, what is the conclusion? What is the message that the public receives from this type of innuendo and messaging? The message that the public receives is very, very simple, ladies and gentlemen. It is dangerous to disagree with this UNC government. That's what the message is. If you have a different view, if you have a different opinion, if you are a reporter and you report something that is different to what they want you to report, it is dangerous for you. It is dangerous not to support everything that they say or they do. The message that the public receives is that the government is directing the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And let me be clear, I have no evidence that that is the case. But the perception that the government builds in the minds of the public is very, very dangerous. But that perception is important one way or another. You see, what the perception ought to be, aside from reality, what the perception ought to be at all times is that the doctrine of separation of powers is alive, well, and functioning in this democracy, ladies and gentlemen. The perception can never be, should never be, that the cabinet is controlling or directing the police to do anything at all. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, the government is setting up the police to fail. They are setting up the police to be mistrusted by the people of this country. And the police service is far more than the few names that appear in the papers all of the time. The police service consists of your brothers and sisters, your neighbors, your relatives, your friends, the decent men and women of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, whose reputation have now come under fire, scrutiny, question, and their job has become one of mistrust in the mind of the public. All because the government is running that narrative. They are setting up the police to fail. And we have been saying here in the PNM from day one, how many people have been charged after they have been detained under this SOE. And understand that when you are detained under the SOE, it is directly on the instruction, written instruction, of the Minister of Homeland Security. It is not on the instruction of the police. There is no intervention of the Commissioner of Police in the signing of a detention order. The police are simply handed a detention order that is signed by the Minister of Homeland Security and told, go and pick up that man, go and pick up that woman. So how is the public supposed to have any trust in and confidence in the police if that is the way the government is operating? And operating now as a norm, as a regular daily operation, where politicians under parliamentary cover are dictating or appearing to dictate who ends up on the receiving end of the police's handcuffs. And it comes right back to an entire modus operandi of victimization by this government at all levels and by all of them. You only need to look at what happened in Parliament the other day when Mr. Same Deputy Prime Minister leave what he doing. The man is the leader of government business. He get up from his chair, make his way to the back of the chamber of the House of Representatives, take out the phone, and he take it out so, put the phone with the two hands in a member of parliamentary staff's face and took a picture of the man. The same man he accused of unethical, unprofessional conduct, about taking off mic and so on. I mean, all of you all are educated people. As always say, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, they aren't foolish. We all understand. We've been watching Parliament since we're small. We're listening on the radio. We read the papers. We know that everybody might do be on at the same time in the Parliament. So what are you talking about? And I mean, that is clear victimization if I have never seen it, but it's more than that. It is an improper abuse of power. But our friend the Calypsonian said, a little bit of power, what? A little bit of power is a dangerous thing. And interestingly, is he might get caught too. And then what was worse is that he gave an explanation as to why he take the picture. All you hear the explanation? I had to take the picture so I could identify the man to the broadcasting committee. All I am anything so dotish, so you telling me you don't know. You can't find out if you don't know who was on duty as the mic technician that day at that time. You need to walk up to him and take a picture? Are you serious? Jesus. So, I mean, that is what I mean by they continue to sing that everybody in this country should. I mean, that is as dotish as you could get up an explanation. Better he didn't say anything at all. That is like saying 1 plus B equal a Hannah fig. It makes no sense whatsoever. And it is the same victimization that exists in every PNM held corporation across Trinidad. This evening, the Port of Spain Corporation, the mayor has to say they cannot pay salaries, and how long, all you know the mayor of Port of Spain saying the allocation is too little. And his PSA members working there, His PSA members working in a corporation, And they can't get a salary. And it is the same thing with tutor. Where is the back pay for teachers? Up to now, nothing, silence. But if you say something inconsistent with this government, with its oppressive views, its victimization for you and for me, and while they're victimizing those opposed to the UNC, they are appointing incompetent UNC loyalists to jobs left, right, and center, while qualified people in this country remain unemployed and unable to get a job. But you see, we in the PNM paying attention, you know. Now I want to ask the UNC a question here this evening. The new CEO of ADB, why did he leave his last job? I want to ask, did he leave or was he fired? And if he was fired, why was he fired? I want the government to tell the population why. And from now on, ladies and gentlemen, from this evening onward, every time I take a platform, I will ask a question or two of this nature about these types of appointments. Because you, the population, and me, the population, we must know how our money is being spent, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to tell this population something as I close this evening. I want to tell you, hold on. Hold on. Hold on to your faith. Hold on to your strength. Hold on to your family. Because we are going to return to office. And all who doubting and losing faith, it is time to congregate. It is not time to separate. I am calling all the PNM warriors, all the prayer warriors in this country, come forth because Trinidad and Tobago needs you. Trinidad and Tobago needs us. Trinidad and Tobago needs a blessing. And that blessing is here. It is here in the political leader. It is here in the next Prime Minister, Mrs. Penelope Beckles Robinson. And soon, ladies and gentlemen, we will all take great pride in returning outside of that Red House that they're keeping us away from, right in Woodford Square, when Penelope Beckles Robinson is making her first appearance in the Red House as Prime Minister of this great country. And we will all join and say, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Senator Boodoo, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Senator Boodoo, for asking the right questions of this oppressive government. Put your hands together one more time for Senator Sanjeev Boodoo. Now, PNM family, politics is about people, yes, but culture is the heartbeat of our nation. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy this evening's first cultural presentation by Mr. Wendell McBurney.
Hey, good evening, everyone. PNM family. Nice. I'm coming from the rear. But don't worry, I'll come into front, just like how PNM go be in front again. We in front, you know. Once everybody come together, we going in front, right? So, I ain't come to talk. Tell them fellas to talk. I come to sing something for you. On board. I promised myself when I can't to sing, I wanted to keep it social. And no matter what is happening, I won't touch on political. But there are some issues that's going on. We can turn your back on now. And we will deal with it in some way and somehow. So in my opinion, I'm taking a position to highlight what is going on in this country. Check the situation that I will mention, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. Here the question: what is wrong with the administration? I really don't know. If it went 5 miles of the PM, is it really don't know? Tell me, what about inflation? Is it really don't know? What road we going down? Is it really don't know? Some folks get fooled some of the time, but not all them all the time. Remember, Calypso is my name. And no matter how high they climb, I think you will surely find that everything remains the same. Yeah. You know what's the name of this one? Questions. So every time we ask a question, nice? what is wrong with the administration in some way and somehow. Like they trying to fool the nation, and we can't take that now. Only promises to get them in power, and they get a chance. But now, to see a minister, you only get 10 dance. So check out the health sector, it ain't get no better. People still falling down dead like fly. Imagine the thing so dread, it have no hospital bed. It's better if you stay home and you die. Hear what? So tell me about the police service. Are they better now? Politicians in public office. Are they better now? Doctors to do a job, do they do it? Are they better now? The team in West Indies cricket. Are they better now? When they do wrong, they fix real fast, and they won't stop blaming the past. FIFA scandal was a big shame, but they say the higher you go, the fall is harder, you know, and everything remains the same. Yeah. Day night day, daily day. I have a question here now. Remember this one. Can someone tell me what's happening? Cause I can't understand it. Are we now experiencing another sinking ship? And tell me, is the captain the boss, or is just a cover? The sailing good, or are they lost? Ask her or warn her. So check the crew carefully. Are they in unity? Can they really handle this big ship? Or if they in a jam, together would they stand? With horse and deck, or would they split? So what about the power struggle in the party? Is it really over now? Some case that they had in bribery. Is it really over now? The floods when the rains come down. Is it really over now? The traffic jam all over the tongue. Is it really over now? It had a time when thing was nice, but when you don't take advice, now arrogance how we feeling shame. But the sabers just fly real high, but us come down to die, and everything remains the same. Yeah. Hey. This a man. I want something for the trade union. What is going on with it? Hey, we had a break for our cause.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we welcome the Member of Parliament for Rima, the leader of the opposition, the political leader of the People's National Movement, and the next Prime Minister of the People's National Movement, the Honorable Penelope Beckers Robinson. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise as we welcome the next Prime Minister. She is the leader, the first female political leader of the People's National Movement, and the leader who is taking us through a very important and pivotal period of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for the Honorable Penelope Beckers Robinson.
Yeah. Good evening again, good evening again. Good evening to the political leader. Miss Beckles, Mr. Manning, the front panel here. We started it, but we'll start it over again because I want you to miss nothing. I want you to hear every drop of this thing here. Right? So we're going back from the top. On board. On board PNM field. I promised myself when I start to sing, I wanted to keep it social. And no matter what is happening, I won't touch on political. But there are some issues that's going on. You can't turn your back on now. And we will deal with it in some way and somehow. So in my opinion, I'm taking a position to highlight what is going on in this country. Check the situation that I will mention, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. So what about the crime situation? Is it really done now? The accidents on the roads in the nation, is it really done now? And tell me, what about inflation? Is it really done now? The frequent flying miles of the PM, is it really done now? Some folks get fooled some at the time, but not all them all the time. Remember, Calypso is my name. And no matter how high they climb, I think you will surely find that everything remains the same. Yeah? We using this going down the road and we chipping. Yeah, my next question. What is wrong with the administration? In some way and somehow, like they trying to fool the nation, and we can't take that now. Only promises to get them in power, and they get a chance. But now, to see a minister, you only get 10 dance. So check out the health sector. It ain't get no better. People still falling down dead like fly. Imagine the thing so dread. It have no hospital bed. It's better if you stay home and you die. So what about the... Is it better now? Politicians in public office. Are they better now? Doctors to do a job, do they do it? Are they better now? The team in West Indies cricket. Are they better now? When they do wrong, it fix real fast. And they won't some blame in the past. FIFA scandal was a big shame. But they say the higher you go, the fall is harder, you know. And everything remains the same. Yeah? They make promises that can't keep. Only who in the house know how to run the house. Yeah? Yeah, we're going on. Can someone tell me what's happening? Cause I can't understand it. Are we now experiencing another sinking ship? And tell me, is the captain the boss? Or is just a cover? They sailing good or are they lost? Ask or water. So check the crew carefully. Are they in unity? Can they really handle that big ship? Or if they in a jam, together would they stand? With all hands at the code, would they split? So what about the power struggle in the party? Is it really over now? Some case that it had in bribery. Is it really over now? The floods when the rains come down. Is it really over now? The traffic jam all over the town. Is it really over now? It had a time when things was nice, but when you don't take advice, now arrogance are we feeling shame. But the sabres just fly real high, and that's come down to die, and everything remains the same. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the night. My name is Wendell McBurney. Yeah.
Put your hands together for Wendell McBurney. Claxon B, you have some amazing talent, don't you? Make some noise for him. Thank you. Are you ready for some more speakers? Say yeah, yeah. Excellent. Our next speaker has spent more than 3 decades ensuring that good governance is a legal and constitutional obligation. An accomplished attorney at law, public policy researcher, and educator, she is internationally recognized as one of the Caribbean's foremost authorities on public procurement, governance, and anti-corruption systems. Holding a Doctor of Policy Research and Practice from the University of Bath in the United Kingdom, she has advised the governments, public institutions, and international organizations, appeared before the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, and served as counsel in several high-profile commissions of inquiry. Today, she brings that wealth of knowledge and experience to the Senate as an opposition senator, where she continues to accountability and the rule of law on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Senator Dr. Margaret Satya Rose.
With a smile and a star, she'll protect you like a child. That's a woman. She'll put a smile upon her face and take you to the higher place.
Good evening, Claxton Bay. Honorable political leader, opposition leader, Honorable Mrs. Penelope Beckles Robinson, thank you. I acknowledge you here this evening. All other protocols observed. Please, this is my first time speaking on a political platform. So I ask for your grace this evening. I want to talk to you from the heart, and I want to thank you for the very, very, very warm welcome I have received, not only in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, where I've been serving for the last couple of weeks, but in the party, the People's National Movement. And tonight, right here, I was hugged by people that I met for the first time tonight. I was warmly received. I was given my PNM jersey, woo, for Mukesh. And I was actually given a very posh fan just now by the Honorable Deputy Mayor that we have here. So, I mean, you have really, really welcomed me warmly, and I feel very privileged and humbled to have been asked to serve in the manner in which I have been asked to serve. And it wasn't an easy decision to make in one respect. You know, we have to think about our professional lives and what happens next. But in light of the moment that we are in Trinidad and Tobago, it was undeniable that I had to step up when asked. I just had to. Because what we have observed in the last year in Trinidad and Tobago, I have never seen before. This is not just another exchange of a government. It is not. And I want to share with you very briefly, because I only have a few minutes, and I was told that my time was cut even further a few seconds ago because of the heat. We feeling it. But I want to share with you something that happened to me on the evening of June 5th. I was sworn in on that day as an opposition senator. And I thank the honorable political leader for the trust that she has placed in me in that regard. No, but I should also say to you, I am not any new PNM. I am born and bred People's National Movement from Woodbrook, Port of Spain South. My father and my uncle were founding members of the People's National Movement along with Eric Williams and that whole set. So I am not, I keep telling people, you never saw me on a platform before. I am a PNM to my bone, to my blood. But on June 5th, I was sworn in as an opposition senator. And in the evening, I was having dinner with some friends. And during the course of that dinner, more people came and gathered. And the talk inevitably, the dinner wasn't for me, it just randomly happened. I was having dinner with friends. The talk went to politics. Now, it was about 6 to 8 people. They were all, I would say, professionals, couple business people in the line. And the talk turned to politics. And they were I'm not going to sell anybody out, I'm not going to call any names, but they were very, very disgruntled with the present government. And so the talk went on, and they were disillusioned. And they were saying, oh my God, this place is a mess, and you know the list of things that are happening. And then I don't know, one of them must be look at me, and then they say, but don't think PNM any different, you know. They say, PNM, UNC, there is no difference. I will tell you, one of the people who was there with me that evening is here this evening. I will tell you, the conversation became very aggressive. Big dispute, because of course, you know, I am trying to defend PNM and say, you cannot say that. You cannot say in light of what we've experienced for the last year that PNM and UNC is the same. You cannot say that. I will tell you, line breakup, people walk off in a huff. Who cussed in and... It's the truth. Is it the truth? It's the truth. That's what happened. And let me tell you something. And this is what I want to come and talk to you all heart to heart tonight about. We cannot put our head in the sand. We cannot feel like because we are seeing what is going wrong, that everybody in Trinidad and Tobago is really understanding that we are actually not living in any creeping dictatorship or creeping erosion of our freedoms. We are living in a galloping erosion of our freedoms right now in the last year. It's galloping. This is an urgent moment. It is a moment where we cannot be neutral, where we, the right-thinking people of Trinidad and Tobago, we cannot sit back and allow what is happening to happen. So after that dinner, I had cause to reflect. I didn't sleep very well that night. I didn't sleep very well that night at all. And I woke up and I said, you know, how can I be more persuasive among people that PNM and UNC are not the same? How can I be more persuasive that the PNM government, 70 years now, 70 years, that the People's National Movement is a government for the people, that the People's National Movement is a government of integrity in public life, that the People's National Movement is a government that respects human rights. And this is one of the most important things that is happening now. It may not be happening to you in your house right now, but it is happening to people throughout this country. Many people, their rights are being trampled on. Our rights are being trampled on. People are being arrested for having an opinion in Trinidad and Tobago. What country are we living in? They lock up somebody tonight? That's why we cannot be neutral in this moment. The People's National Movement is also a government from all of their time who we respect the rule of law. These extrajudicial killings that are happening, frequently. The People's National Movement respects the rule of law. How can you have a situation where we are hearing citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are being shot down by planes from other powers, and our Prime Minister is saying, kill them all violently? Is this a government that respects the rule of law and due process and citizens' rights, our right to freedom of expression, our right of freedom of movement? I just want to talk a little bit about corruption, which is the area that I have spent a lot of my life, a lot of my career in. And it is the area where you hear most of all they're saying there is no difference between PNM and UNC. All of them get in there and they thief. That's what people think in Trinidad and Tobago. All of them get in there and they think. I am here to say that the type of corruption under the United National Congress and the type of corruption under the People's National Movement are chalk and cheese. Two completely different things. And I'll give you just a little bit of an example. We have a situation with the United National Congress, and I'm going to talk evidence, and in some respects, I'll just say allegations, right, that are yet to be proven. But we have a government that has proven through the Piarco inquiry. It is not the Piarco corruption, you all remember that? 2002 to 2003? Where it is not just, oh Lord, let me see if I could give a contract to my friend. That's not what it is. Let me see if somebody who is competing for a contract could get something. No, that's not the type of corruption under the United National Congress. It is significant conspiracy, conspiring among many, many different actors. It is design of a program with the purpose of personal gain, with several stakeholders working together. Live sport was the same thing. And now we see in this year, we see the HTC, $3.4 billion to 11 contractors. And in those contractors, you're not seeing any major design build contractor from the region. And yes, they were canceled. That contract was canceled. But I know you all are following the news, and you all are seeing there are serious issues with respect to that procurement process. And I want to say, cancellation is not a cure for criminality. So you could cancel, but if you breach the law, exactly, lock them up. And that issue is still being investigated by the Office of Procurement Regulator. And let us hope and see whether that institution will be able to stand tall for the people of Trinidad and Tobago in this time and not be cowered under. You see, the type of corruption that we are seeing here is coordinated, evidence, allegations, coordinated among many different stakeholders. From what I have observed, and from the evidence that has been put into the public domain, it is there's information. You know, I'm trying to be very careful because I'm a lawyer too. I'm a lawyer. So, you know, they're going to come and say, what have I said on the platform? And they're going to sue me and all of that. But there is information that looks like, smells like, I cannot say that it is because it's still under investigation, collusion, bid rigging, conspiracy to defraud the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That's what it looks like. And why do I say it is different under the People's National Movement? Because the People's National Movement is the only government that when allegations were made about corruption in their own corners, and that was in our lifetime, that was in 2009, 2010. Do you all remember that? The Udicot corruption? Do you remember, and constructions, do you remember that? Do you know what the Honorable Patrick Manning did? He called a commission of inquiry into his own public institution and his public bodies in the construction sector. That is what the People's National Movement does. There is respect for the rule of law. So that if one player wants to go and do something, that we're not proud of, because we all need to be honest with ourselves here. We cannot stand here, put our heads in the sand and say, we in the People's National Movement never made a mistake. We, our people, there have been people in us who have made mistakes, and we have to honestly own it. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago are fed up of the corruption. So this is something that we must clean up. But the People's National Movement is the only government that investigated itself and found, the Commission of Inquiry found in 2010 that there were issues of impropriety and it should be sent to the DPP for investigation. We then saw a whole board resign. The chairman of the board fled the country, never to be seen again. Yes, we have issues with enforcement and we are working on it. In fact, from the PRCO matter, as you all know, you would be reading the headlines. We just got our $1 billion judgment enforced. We are supposed to now go and get our money. Will this government, the United National Congress, go and get that money for us? So I don't have time. So all I want to say tonight is this. Just this thought. We are different. The People's National Movement is different from the United People's National Movement is different from the United National Congress. We are different. And when they ask you, well, no, it's the same. Say, no, it is not the same, because hear what I will give you. Because I'll tell you this. I just rattled off a few things that, you could see differences. But if a UNC speaker were to come and stand up next to me right now, he would refute every single one. He will point to other things that PNM did. It will be tit for tat, back and forth, left and right, red and yellow. It will be that. And what I want to say tonight is if we stay stuck in that cycle of PNM, UNC, back and forth, we will miss that the power at the top are making decisions that are fundamentally changing the constitutional character of who we are in Trinidad and Tobago. We will miss it if we keep focusing that way. We have to keep vigilant. We have to keep our eyes on the power, where the power is, and the decisions that the people who hold power are making in our country. We have to do that. The difference between the People's National Movement and the United National Congress is you. When they ask you what's the difference is you. I am a member of the PNM. That's what you say. And I am holding my leaders to account. And I am prepared to stand up and be counted. And another difference with the People's National Movement and the United Congress is our leader. Oh my God! We have someone saying, kill them violently. We have someone saying, we don't need to be part of this, we don't need to be part of that. We have someone that goes, I'm talking about in our government. We have somebody that goes into the government, into the parliament under parliamentary privilege and makes the most scandalous allegations under parliamentary privilege in our government. What do we have in the People's National Movement? Decency, integrity. We have calm, deliberate, careful leadership, no off-the-cuff, crazy statements in Parliament, no attacking for no reason. constructive opposition. We have a leader for this moment in Trinidad and Tobago. And what is required in with us here now, People's National Movement, and who's listening on the remote, whoever is listening, what is required now is for us to stand up together. Together, stand up. If you are not a member of the People's National Movement, this is the party that you must join now in this moment of history. If you're a member of the People's National Movement and you're not in a party group, join one now. And pay your party dues. And if you're part of a party group and you're all not doing very much, you're all hardly meeting, you're not doing anything, go into your party group and be the change that this country needs. Guys, just heart to heart as I leave. Now, as I leave, let me tell you this. This is why I stood up. This is why I stood up when I was asked. I said, I have to be the change that I want to see in Trinidad and Tobago. I have to contribute. I have to work. I cannot just stay on the sideline and point fingers and say why they do this and how they do that. And I'm going to ask every single one of us in this room. You have come here, so it means that you believe that we could be better. That's why you've come here. And so I'm going to ask everyone in this room, stand up. Everyone listening, stand up. Stand with the People's National Movement. Thank you.
Senator Dr. Margaret Satya Rose, ladies and gentlemen. PNM family, Senator said that this is her maiden political speech. Do you believe that? Can you give us some Claxton Bay reassurance? She was outstanding. So now, PNM family, we are moving on to our next speaker, who is a leader whose career has been defined by service, discipline, and a resolute commitment to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Before entering public life, he served as a police officer, dedicating himself to protecting our communities before establishing himself as a respected attorney at law. Since first entering Parliament in 2020, he has earned the confidence of the People's National Movement through his work ethic and his willingness to serve wherever called, holding the portfolios of Minister of Public Utilities and Minister of National Security, serving as Opposition Chief Whip, successfully retaining the confidence of the people of Aruca Lopino, and serving as Chairman of the People's National Movement. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Chairman of the People's National Movement and a Member of Parliament for Aruca Lopino, the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez.
Like a laughing flame, all who did not know me when I done, they gon' know the name. Million people coming down, dancing to a song.
Claxton Bay, how you feeling? San Fernando East, how you feeling? San Fernando West. Honorable political leader of the People's National Movement and leader of the opposition, member of parliament for Arima. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give our dear political leader a gracious and a round of applause from here in Marabella in Claxton Bay. My colleagues in the leadership of the party, the constituency executive of Claxton Bay, PNM foot soldiers and supporters, members of the media. I want to start by making one little complaint, and please bear with me. The next time, all you're having a next meeting in Claxton Bay, get a bigger venue. Because, Mr. Coordinator, there are more people on the outside than in the inside. Do not underestimate the power of the People's National Movement. And even though this constituency is not represented by a PNM member of parliament in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM is alive and well in the constituency of Claxton Bay. I also want to recognize my colleague in the lower house, the Honorable Brian Manning, Member of Parliament for San Fernando East. I also want to recognize the Vice Chairman of the People's National Movement and the Leader of Opposition Business in the upper house in the Parliament, the Honorable Dr. Amory Brown. And I want to congratulate the new senator who gave her maiden political speech in Claxton Bay. And Senator Rose, throughout your entire political journey, you must never forget that you have made your maiden political speech in the constituency of Claxton Bay. And I don't want you to ever forget that it is the coordinator, Mr. Mukesh Ramsingh, that gave you your red political t-shirt to appear on a Claxton Bay political platform. It says a lot. It may look simple, ladies and gentlemen, but it is very important. Now, I want to continue where Senator Rose left off, because Senator Rose gave a very powerful message, not only to you here in Claxton Bay, but in Trinidad and Tobago. You see, because we have leadership in this country that tries every day and every hour and every opportunity that they have to brainwash you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and especially you, the membership of the People's National Movement. Because Senator Rose rightly said, look at how your PNM party deals with issues within our party. That when there are issues of governance in Trinidad and Tobago, and the PNM holds the reins of government, we call a spade a spade. And we do what we must do to protect the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, even though it may be politically inconvenient to the People's National Movement. And that is the reason why Senator Rose could stand here tonight in Claxton Bay and tell you that when the Honorable Prime Minister, former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Patrick Augustus Mervyn Manning, was pressured and called upon to deal with issues of governance in his party, he did not defend what could not be defended. But in true PNM style, with our principles where morality in public affairs is concerned, Patrick Manning called a commission of inquiry to look at issues of governance in Trinidad and Tobago in his government and allow the chip to fall where they may, because this is the PNM. And therefore, anyone who wants to tell you that there is no difference between the PNM and the UNC, they do not know nothing about this great People's National Movement organization and movement and party. They don't know anything. Because the PNM has always stood for morality in public affairs in Trinidad and Tobago. And we have done so even when it is politically inconvenient to us in this party. Because when we hold national office, we take an oath on the Constitution and the law to protect the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We represent all race, we represent all religion, all class, everyone, regardless of where you are. A PNM government takes care of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So when the Prime Minister 2 days ago tells the country that resources were being made available to the PNM government over the last 10 years, and we did not make use of those resources to protect the borders and our maritime integrity, and to protect our borders from drug traffickers and human traffickers, the Prime Minister is nothing but a dangerous and a deceitful liar once again, ladies and gentlemen. Because as long as there is the PNM, we will stand on the side of truth, and we will ensure that the Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, does not in any way get away to continue to you, the membership of the PNM. I can tell you that I sat 5 years under the leadership of Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. And every month we sat, and when it was necessary, decisions were always taken to protect the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Look at a PNM cabinet. Look at a PNM lineup in the lower house. Look at a PNM lineup in the Senate. And look at what is opposed to us. And nobody could tell me that the PNM and the UNC are the same. We do not have an Arnold Roberts in our ranks. We do not have a Philip Alexander in our ranks. We do not have a David Lee in our ranks. We do not have a Rudal Munilal in our ranks. We do not have despicable characters in our ranks. Look at the lineup of the PNM in the lower house. Look at the lineup of the PNM in the upper house. The PNM stands tall, representing all the people of Trinidad and Tobago and representing morality in public affairs in Trinidad and Tobago. But this is the Prime Minister who today is telling you that the PNM government did not make use of resources made available to it by the US government. Let me remind you, I said it today at the opposition press conference. This is the Prime Minister. This is the Prime Minister as leader of the opposition. When a PNM government took a policy decision to purchase 3 offshore patrol vessels to patrol and to protect the borders of Trinidad and Tobago from drug traffickers and human traffickers, in the first 3 months after assuming office in 2010, the same Kamla Persad-Bissessar canceled the contract for the 3 offshore patrol vessels. A project that was designed by a PNM government and a PNM Prime Minister to protect the borders and the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So why is this Prime Minister could come and tell us, after cancelling the offshore patrol vessels that was put in place to protect the borders of Trinidad and Tobago, that the PNM did not make use of resources? She is nothing but a dangerous and deceitful liar. And every day we will expose who she is. This is the Prime Minister. After a PNM government led by Patrick Augustus Mervyn Manning put a crime-fighting elite unit in place to protect the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the Special Anti-Crime Unit of Trinidad and Tobago, that was put after the support of our colleagues in Britain and in the United States to attack the issues of drug trafficking, kidnapping, gang warfare in Trinidad and Tobago. What did she do? After assuming office in 2010, she dismantled the Special Anti-Crime Unit of Trinidad and Tobago after 5 months in attaining office in this country. The same Special Anti-Crime Unit had a blimp, a modern air asset to assist our ground troops and our ground law enforcement officials in tackling crime, in tackling gangs. What did she do? A blimp that cost you, the taxpayers of this country, $15 million US. Her government and her party sold that blimp for $50,000 US. Dismantling our national security apparatus. And Kamla Persad-Bissessar today
telling you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, you loyal members of the PNM, that the PNM did not make use of resources that were made available by the US government. I sat in the National Security Council, and I wanted to ask the Prime Minister and tell the Prime Minister today, here in Claxton Bay, you tell us what resources were made available to the PNM government that we did not make use of. And if you are unable to do that, once again, you are a dangerous and a deceitful liar, Prime Minister. And I will not call her the J word today because you know that they don't like the J word. I wouldn't do that. I will use a different word to call her. That is more acceptable. That is more palatable. She is a wicked and a bacchanalist Prime Minister who has no integrity and has no morality to speak to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to also tell you that it is because of close collaboration between the US government and a PNM government in Trinidad and Tobago, the airport scandal that Senator Rose spoke about, that cost you, the taxpayers of this country, over $1 billion. It was a United States president that met with the Honorable Patrick Augustus Mervyn Manning and gave to him a file that contained evidence and information that pointed to serious racketeering and money laundering related to the Piaco airport scandal that was constructed by a UNC government. Patrick Augustus Mervyn Manning came back to Trinidad and, working with Glenda Morin, a former Attorney General of the PNM, opened up a commission of inquiry, and exactly what the US government informed a PNM government in Port of Spain were revealed wide open, where financiers of the UNC were directly involved in money laundering and bid rigging that cost you, the taxpayers of this country, over $1 billion. What did we do? We opened up a commission of inquiry and we commenced action to recover monies on behalf of you, the taxpayers of this country, working and collaborating with the US government, you PNM members and PNM supporters and citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Action was also commenced in the United States to recover billions of dollars on behalf of the taxpayers of this country. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. When the matter was concluded, the court ruled in Miami that you, the taxpayers, are entitled to over $1 billion. When Kamla Persad-Bissessar was in government in 2010 and 2015, we heard nothing of that because she and her government did not do anything to recover $1 in relation to this multi-million-dollar scandal that cost you, the taxpayers of this country. Nothing did she do. It is only when the PNM came back into government in 2015, your PNM government, that the action was recommenced in the courts in Miami, and today we have a ruling and a judgment to collect over $1 billion on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, not because of Kamla Persad-Bissessar, not because of the UNC, but because of a PNM government working to protect the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So when Kamla could come and talk about that the PNM did not do anything to protect the people of Trinidad and Tobago and to collaborate with the US, Kamla Persad-Bissessar is nothing but a dangerous and deceitful person that has no moral authority to speak to us in the People's National Movement and by extension, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I could remind you, let me remind you, that when the PNM came back in government in 2015, your PNM government, after she canceled the contract for the 3 OPVs, guess what we did? A PNM Prime Minister and a PNM political leader went to Australia, worked and collaborated and negotiated with the Australian government to get 2 Cape-class fast patrol vessels to once again patrol our vessels and our porous borders to protect you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, from drug traffickers. Guess what Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC did? They wrote the Australian authority asking for a criminal investigation to be conducted and to stop this contract from being awarded so that we can have our vessels to protect our borders. They did not even want that to happen. And I have to ask, you have to ask, what triggered and what will trigger and what will motivate a political leader with that kind of track record to undermine every aspect of our national security apparatus, from drug traffickers, to protect you from drug traffickers, to protect you from human traffickers? You must ask yourself, what is the reason she was engaged in that kind of behavior? The Piaco scandal. There were reports that the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, in following money, got evidence that monies were being funneled from that Piaco airport scandal to a drug cartel in Colombia, affiliated with two financiers of the United National Congress. Monies from the Piaco scandal was being funneled and being followed by the United States Drug Enforcement Agency to a drug cartel in Colombia, linking two UNC financiers. The Prime Minister, every time she talks, she will not mention in her mouth the Piaco airport scandal. She will not mention in her mouth the conviction against Ishwa Galbaransing and Steve Ferguson. The Attorney General, busy and threatening all his political opponents, will not do anything or make any move and will not report to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, as to what he plans to do to recover that $1 billion that the U.S. court awarded to you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to tell you, PNM supporters, PNM members, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM is different from the UNC. The PNM will always be different from the United National Congress. And therefore, it is our responsibility as PNM members to put aside our petty differences. Let us hold hands together, because our differences are insignificant compared to the threats that face the people of Trinidad and Tobago today. I don't care who ain't like me. I don't care who ain't like Penny. I don't care who ain't like Emery Brown. I don't care who ain't like Brian Manning. I don't care who ain't like Foster Cummings. I don't care who ain't like Stuart Young. I don't care who ain't like Rowley. At the end of the day, who ain't like who is not important. Getting sane and stable governance in Trinidad and Tobago must be our clarion call, must be our sole focus. And we, the PNM people, regardless of where you are, whether you're in the north, whether you're in the south, whether you're in Togo, whether you're in Tobago, wherever you are, let us put our differences together and ensure that we have a PNM government, a sane and stable government to protect the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Let us ensure that. Get your party groups organized. Get your constituency organized. Get all of the units of your constituency and your party organized. Let us mobilize all our PNM units. Let us get together and move to all of the constituencies, all of the communities. Let us rally the people together. There are people who once supported the UNC, don't want to have nothing to do with the UNC again. Let us bring them back in the PNM, and let us have a platform for good, honest citizens, whether you're in the UNC, whether you're in the PNM, wherever you are. If you care about Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM is now a national platform that will rally all the people, regardless of race, regardless of color, regardless of your ethnicity. Let us come together on one platform to protect Trinidad and Tobago and to remove this corrupt and this inept and this criminal government in power once and for all. This is our divine and this is our responsibility as PNM supporters. The PNM is far different from the UNC. We believe in morality in public affairs. We represent the conscience of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, PNM soldiers, I ask you tonight, let us put aside our differences. Let us work together to ensure that we have a strong and united Dr. Eric Williams party, a George Chambers party, a Patrick Augustus Mervyn Manning party, a Dr. Keith Rowley party, a Penelope Beckles party, a Stuart Young party. This is the People's National Movement, and today here in Claxton Bay, I call all party members, let us put aside our differences and let us unite once and for all. And when we do so, we will say, great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! And we shall, and we will always prevail.
Wow, Claxton Bay, let's make some noise. The heat and the passion we're feeling on this stage from our chairman. It's a powerful address. Thank you so much, Chairman. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to welcome our next speaker. History does not simply remember those who hold office, Claxton Bay. It remembers those who lead with courage when their nation needs them most. Our featured speaker this evening has devoted more than 3 decades to the service of Trinidad and Tobago. As an attorney at law, parliamentarian, cabinet minister, diplomat, member of parliament for Arima, and now the first woman ever elected political leader of the People's National Movement and leader of the opposition. She has built a legacy founded on integrity, resilience, and commitment to country. Today, Claxton Bay, as our democracy faces unprecedented challenges and the voices of ordinary citizens cry out for accountability, transparency, and principled leadership, she continues to stand firmly in defense of our Constitution, our institutions, and the people of this nation. In her own words, judge me not by the decibel of my voice, but by the depth of my commitment and the strength of my conviction to lift every citizen higher. Ladies and gentlemen, Claxton Bay, PNM family, please rise to your feet and give a thunderous People's National Movement welcome to the Member of Parliament for Arima,
my faith's been tested time and time again.
And dare I say, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Please welcome the Honorable Penelope Beckles Robinson.
That's required. Amen. I pray for my people to not lose their fire. Amen. I'm sending prayers for those who suffering in silence. Amen. Grant them wisdom, cures, clarity and guidance. Amen. I pray for the young and I pray for the old. Cover their minds, Lord, don't let them lose control. Though we stand in sin, no transgressions are many. Thank God for the life that He gave me. To all you who doubting and losing faith, time to congregate, no time to separate. I'm calling on the prayer warriors in the country. Love for Tobago need we, cause I say Trinidad need a blessing. Tobago need a blessing. Tobago need a blessing. Amen. Trinidad need a blessing. Tobago need a blessing. Tobago need a blessing. Amen.
All I could tell all you tonight, After here, Marvin, Rose, Budu, Teresa is heating the place. So let me acknowledge the chairman of the People's National Movement, the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez, deputy political leaders, the Honorable Brian Manning, Member of Parliament for San Fernando East, Senator the Honorable Amory Brown. I see in the audience the Mayor of the City of San Fernando and the Mayor of Point Fortin, councillors. Let me specially acknowledge the Chairman of the constituency of Claxton Bay, Dr. Webster Joseph, all other members of the executive, my parliamentary colleagues, and to join with the chairman in acknowledging Senator Dr. Margaret Rose for her first contribution. I want to start this evening by thanking Dr. Joseph, the coordinator Mukesh Ramsingh, and members of the executive, and the people of Marabella and Claxton Bay for the warm welcome this afternoon. I had the opportunity to walk in the streets of Batu Avenue, Budu Singh, Washington, and Silcotton Drive. And to the people who welcomed us warmly, I say thank you very much. I also walked with the prospective candidate, Jeremy Robinson. And I know, Jeremy, where are you? And I know that the people of Marabella East cannot wait to elect you as their councillor. Excellent job. For me, it brought back memories to come here in Marabella today. Because many of you don't know, but I lived in Marabella for some time. And I see some people in the audience that would remember that I lived on Union Road. And for those days when you had Pino's discotheque, how many people remember that? Yes, good. I lived directly opposite there by my aunt until I went to Arima. So I stayed there and I completed my A-levels. And I then went to Arima. Fond memories, of course, of Guaracara Park. Fond memories of going to horse racing. Brian, you were too young, right? You was there. Okay. So, because Brian lived not too far from here with his dad, and horse racing was a normal part of our activity. So to the people of Marabella who would have played a part when I was a teenager to instill good values in me, I say thank you. But for the time that I'm here, I want to say to you that I am only going to deal with the issue of local government tonight. All the previous speakers dealt with a lot of issues, but I'm just going to deal with local government. And I talked about Jeremy Robinson, who is the prospective candidate for Marabella East. The People's National Movement has already started its screening exercise. And we have screened candidates for the San Fernando City Corporation, and that is for seats where we don't have a sitting candidate. A sitting councillor, sorry. San Fernando, Couva Tabakit, Talparo Regional Corporation, Shogunas, and Sandy Grande. And we will then be going to other corporations. As we walk today, you discussed with us your concerns about the playground that is directly opposite to Silk Cotton. And I know the mayor visited there today, and together with the residents, he gave the commitment that they are going to address your concerns at that particular playground. We in the PNM have decided that we are going to complete our screening exercise and put our candidates in the field as early as possible. Because we are committed, we are insisting that we must win most of the regional corporations. I know that all of you here, and that is why I was happy to see both mayors of San Fernando and Point Fortin and several councillors from many regional corporations. And if they had the time to speak tonight, they would tell you about the stress they are under. And I'm going to take a little time to share with you the stress that they are under. I also want to tell you that this government is so wicked and deceitful that they took decisions to ensure that the PNM-run corporations do not have sufficient funds. So let me share with you what they have done. And I want to start, first of all, with the draft estimates. And the reason why I am sharing this with you, because some of you have been very critical of the councils and of the mayors and the councillors when you're not getting your garbage collection in the way in which you were accustomed, your bulk waste. And I don't want to mention the whole issue of CPEP and URP and how filthy and dirty Trinidad and Tobago is. Nobody would believe that a prime minister will boast about Trinidad and Tobago being a lawless dump. So let me give you the information. The information, Arima Borough Corporation for the development program got 18,250,000. There's a decline now by 12 million. So they only got 5.6. But listen, Shogunas Borough in 2025 got approximately 17.2 million. You want to know how much they increased it by? They got 37.9 million. They increased it by $20.7 million. So you see, Arima went down by 12.6. They increased Shogunas by 20 million. Kuva Tabaki Talparo got 17.1 million, went up to 19 million, and they increased it by 1.8 million. Dago Martin got 17.4 million in 2025, and in 2026, 11.1 million, a decrease of 6.3 million. Mayaro, 17.25 million in 2025, went up to 18.8, an increase of 1.6. And I want you all to just bear with me because this is very important. Penal Debe, 17.15, 2025. You want to know how much they increased it by? 38 million they got, an increase of more than 21 million. Port of Spain, 19.7, a decrease of $15.6 million. You heard that? They went from 19 to minus 15. So they got 4.1. But let us talk about Princestown. Princestown went from 17 million to 37 million, an increase of 20 million. I'm saying to you, this is very important. Point 14. Point 14 went from 17.6 million in 2025 to 5.5 million in 2026. A decrease of 1 million. You all hearing what I'm telling you? San Fernando, 20 million, 18.5. I'm not giving you the exact. And a decrease of 1.5. Sawa Lavantil got an increase of 1.8. Sandy Grande got an increase of $250,000. Separia, 17.3 in 2025, and they got an increase of $3.7 million. Tunapuna, 18.1 in 2025, a decrease of 880,000. They just got about 17 million. Now, why is that important? Because you will understand why in so many of your areas they are not collecting garbage. Sanitation is down. Many of the persons that we passed by today talked about a drain, fixing the road. The corporation simply cannot do it because they deliberately increased all the allocations for every single UNC corporation, and save and except one PNM corporation, they decreased substantially. But let me say to you, very important, in the San Fernando City Corporation, they also got a decrease in the allocation for garbage collection and scavenging. Port of Spain got a decrease by 37%. Point Fortin got a decrease by 12%. But in Chaguanas, they got an increase by 88%. So they went up from 12 million to 23. And I could go down. Diego Martin, a decrease by 18%. Sawan, a decrease by 16%. Sandy Grande, which they have control of, they got an increase of 57%. Mayaro, that they have control of, 61%. Kuva Talparo, 32%. And that is what has been going on. And when you come to these meetings, I want to tell you that this is what we do in the People's National Movement, ensure that you are educated. So when they're telling you that they give more and they give more, I want to tell you it's a total and absolute lie. More importantly, you would have heard, and the Honorable Brian Manning made this point more than any other member of Parliament about the issue of budgeting. Did they budget for all those promises that they made and all those increases? Because they keep telling you, promise made, promise delivered. But let the mayor of San Fernando tell you, and the mayor of Port of Spain, they have no money to pay salaries this month. You all are aware of that? No money to pay salaries this month. I don't know what's happening in Point Fortin. putting you in the same position. Now just imagine. Remember the speech of the Honorable Prime Minister about love and caring and caring. And the corporation workers more than likely will not get salary this month. Imagine you cut sanitation. You cut the development program. As we speak today, the San Fernando City Corporation does not have money for toilet paper. They don't have money for any basic supplies. And I'm telling you, that is because it is a deliberate decision of this government to starve the PNM-run corporations. But let me tell you more. All the corporations would have received a memo telling them to start paying the PSA monthly workers and the daily rated workers. Now you think that if you instruct the corporation to do that, you would give them the money. But guess what? They did not give them the money. So they started the new salary payments of the monthly workers in January. And they got a new memo to start the payment of the daily rated workers in May. And what happened? They now have no money to pay salaries. That is government for you. And if you all think I'm lying, look the mayor right there. And I could show you the notice or the memo written by the mayor of Port of Spain saying to the minister, there is no money to pay salaries this month. But what is worse, the mayor of San Fernando had to take his allocation for sanitation last month to ensure that people got their salaries. Well, you hear what's going on? Huh? Take the money for sanitation and pay people's salaries. And these people tell you they know how to run a country. Who are they going to blame? They want to blame the PNM. But if you ask to run a country, you must be capable of doing that. So we are waiting patiently. Because when I remember the Honorable Brian Manning asking the question, is there an allocation in your budget to pay these increases? And what did Tanku say? He said yes. He said yes. Now, I want to share with you some important information that is linked to this whole issue of salary payments, promises, and the like. And this is a time when we must pay very close attention to what is going on internationally because it's going to impact on us. You would recall that last year, the Minister of Finance, in reading the budget, the price they budgeted the oil price at was $73.25. You all remember that? You all are aware that there is this war going on in Iran that started since February. I spoke about it today in my press conference, but some of you may have missed it, and even if you heard me, I'm repeating it again. The price of oil went up as high as $110 a barrel. You all following that? So that, they start to feel nice. Price of oil going to $110 a barrel. You all have paid attention. What is the price of oil today? Tell me what's the price of oil today? $69 a barrel. So let us remember, 73.25, yes? went up to 110. Today, it is $60. How many of you paid attention to the recently concluded midterm budget debate? Let me read for you what the minister said. The minister said, Mr. Speaker, the 2026 budget was predicated on an average oil price of $73.25. Our estimation for oil and gas prices to the end of the fiscal year is US $85 a barrel. You hear that? This 2 weeks ago. Now they moved from $73.25 and they carry it up to $80. This government does not understand anything to do with finances. You recall that they came into government and they told us that the PNM left an empty treasury. You remember that? The PNM leave an empty treasury, but you're promising everybody back pay, and you're promising them that they're going to get it in cash. A few months later, you change your story. Part cash, part bonds. And you are instructing local government to pay new salaries, and you're not giving them any allocation. That is government for you. So we need to take that in the context of what is going on in the corporations where they cannot pay salaries. How many of you here have grandparents, an aunt, and uncle who is going to the Ministry of Social Development and waiting for the longest while to get a pension? This is the first time in the history of Trinidad and Tobago that we are finding ourselves when they have changed the date for you to collect your salary. You are now collecting your salary later. But very often, when pensioners go to the bank and they put in that card, there is no money. Let us go back to COVID. Even when the price of oil dropped and things were hard and people were not even going to work, the People's National Movement ensured that everybody got their salary on time. Yes, that deserves a round of applause. You could have been guaranteed that you could pay your mortgage, pay a light bill, pay all your bills. Not now. You really think that the bank cares that the government paying you late? They don't care. Do you think this government cares that they're paying you late? So the final thing I want to say to you, two things I want to say to you. I took note of the amount of young people that walked with us today. And I want to say to you, the young people who walked with us and the young people listening tonight, all the youth programs that this government is closing down, the People's National Movement will reopen. As I sit here, and from time to time, when we have our caucus, and the MPs tell you about the young people, the My Lot, the My Part, the program established by the government for those interested in agriculture. You know, these people are so wicked. They're closing down everything. What about the Civilian Conservation Corps? Huh? I mean, you just, OJT, you just think about it. How could people tell you that they have compassion and that they care for you? And as a young person, you close down all of these programs. How is it possible? And I want to say to you, please do not give up. There is hope because the People's National Movement will be returning to government. And I know it is very hard, but I just want you to remember that they closed down all of those youth camps. Remember that? They came into office between the period 2010 and 2015. And as soon as they came, they closed it down. We came back into government and we started to reopen these camps. You know they closed it down again? And they are telling you that they love young people. Young people, fear not. Fear not. The People's National Movement will be back in government. And I want to remind you, it matters not whether it is youth, whether it is agriculture, whether it is housing, whether it is education, whether it is the energy sector. The People's National Movement has a track record of success in every single area. Not this government. Their track record is to try and close down and destroy every project, program of the People's National Movement. But they will not be there long enough to destroy all of our projects. This is a government that is operating by revenge, by vengeance, and by wickedness. You cannot tell me, and this is my last point, you cannot tell me that you will come into government in the month of April, and by the end of May and June, you start to close down CPEP, you close down URP, you close down reforestation, and nobody sitting in this room here today can convince me that they did not make that decision long before they got into government. They argued and they told you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, there is corruption in CPEP, there is corruption in URP, there is corruption in reforestation. 1 year has passed. Where is the corruption? There are so many contractors who still have not been paid what is outstanding to them. And I said it before. They want to tell you that CPEP is slave labor. They want to tell you that Trinidad is a lawless dump. I want to say today, on behalf of all my colleagues that are here, that we have been proud of the work done by the CPEP workers. There are so many people in various communities. It wasn't just about the cleaning of the drains. It wasn't just about the manicuring of the lawns. It was about the safety in your communities, that you saw the CPEP workers there, and there was a certain element of safety and comfort, that you could leave your little door open because they became almost like family. They had a commitment and love for the places that they cleaned. And I want to urge you, please do not allow Kamla Bassad Bissessa and the UNC government to belittle the work that you did to make Trinidad and Tobago one of the cleanest countries in the world when CPEP was operating. Because it's not just CPEP, you have to take CPEP, you have to take URP, you have to take reforestation, and you have to take local government together for the country to be clean. But many of you know that when you went into rural communities, whether you are going to Tabakit, whether you're going to Siparia, whether you're going to Mayaro, whether you're driving on the way going to Maracas, you know for a fact that it was done by the CPEP workers. They want you, they want to belittle you and make you feel that your contribution was worthless, absolute rubbish. Stand tall, CPEP workers, for the contribution you made to the environment of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to close by saying to the constituency of Claxton Bay, how proud I am of you. Yes, you don't have, as the chairman said, you do not have a PNM representative in the parliament. But today when I arrived at Batu Avenue and I saw you on your hundreds coming out in your red PNM t-shirts, I felt proud. Chairman, members of the executive, continue to do your work. Continue to do your work. Continue to prepare. I want to remind you that it was 33-3. 33-3. And Mr. Manning walked the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago and ensured that within the shortest possible time, the PNM was back in government. We have lost government more than once, and on each and every occasion, we have returned to government, and this time will be no different. And we have to depend on you, the people of the PNM. And let me join with the chairman and say to you, the time for bickering done. Monday, I celebrate 1 year since I was sworn in as the political leader of the PNM. And I dare say, unopposed. And if we have to return to government, it is important that we understand the importance of being united. There isn't much time. There isn't much time. Next year, this government starts their 3rd year. So for those of you who feel there is time, there is no time. You have had the experience of comparing a PNM government and a UNC government. Chalk and cheese. They have taken lying to a different level. They have taken corruption to a different level. And you have a responsibility for whatever differences we had and whatever we may have. The time has come to realize that if we are to return to government, there is work to do. We in the leadership have been going through the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. Last night we were in St. Joseph, and we are going to constituencies and we are listening to you. We are listening to you because we know that some of you were not happy. And our commitment is to do better. But you must make an equivalent commitment to do better. And as I leave today, I want to say thanks to the many of you who have either sent messages, criticisms that have made me a better leader than I was a year ago. I want to thank all of you who have made the time to come out in your numbers today for us to have one of our biggest meetings that we have had for the year. I look forward to us continuing to go through Trinidad and Tobago, continuing to preach the gospel of the People's National Movement. So at the end of the day, we will all say and shout, great is God, great is the People's National Movement. I thank you.
I say na 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 na, say na 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 na, I say na 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 na, I say na na na, I say na 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 na, I say na na.
Time for our political leader, the Honorable Penelope Beckers Robinson. Thank you so much, Madam Political Leader. Thank you for that powerful, courageous, and inspiring address. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much, Claxton Bay, for joining us this evening. Y'all give yourselves a round of applause. You are an amazing group of people. Join us very soon for our next public meeting. We'd like to thank all who are in attendance. We thank the Operations Committee for making this meeting possible. And as we leave, I ask everyone to join me one more time in our party's rallying call. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we shall prevail.
I say na 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 na, I say na 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 na, say na 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 na, I say na 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 na, I say na na na, I say na 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 na, I say na na na, I say na 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 na. I never had it easy for the brands and the bling and the expensive thing. Oh, I never had the money, never had nice living. And mama say, oh, you could have it all, just work hard for yours. I say, mama, you know I'll work hard for sure. Now Jaja bless me with the opportunity to fly country to country. Now I could drink champagne when I thirst. Now I could see only thing I never see. They say this hour you'd man so long. But I thank the father and the family. Now no bad mind boy they can stop me. On every show I smiling cause trust me, life is so lovely. Whoa. And I'm far from finished. Whoa. Can't believe it, no. See, I'm far from finished. Whoa. Love the life that I live in. Yeah. I say na 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 na, I say na 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 na, say na 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 na, I say na na what they fighting for, what they killing for, oh. We don't need no more now. Tell them wicked people, fire go burn them, fire go burn them. Oh, oh Lord, I said this is the year for love. Fire go burn them, fire go burn them. Oh, say little boy, you ain't bad at all. Another one just gone. You just and smile, say you's a madman. Another young boy fall. Your soul can't rest at night. Oh, you's a bad man. Bad man is a man who just defend woman and protect the young ones by any means, Lord. You ain't no bad man, boy, now. You ain't no bad man. A real bad man just make his own decisions. He don't need anyone, he only needs God. You ain't no bad man, boy, now. You ain't no bad man, so sit down, rock back. Tell them I don't need no